All right. Hey, everybody. All right. Before we get started, oil up and crystal up. Let's see. I just put Manuka on. I'm going to be talking about that. So let's see what else are you using? Citrine with celestials. Nice. And ignite your journey. I'm going to be talking about that. That is the number one winner chicken dinner oil of spring. I'll tell you that right now. Believe, yep, Believe is a big one. Yep, green aventurine, that's a big one. Awesome. All right, well, we're going to dive in. And as others hop in, they hop in. So, as always, if you have questions, feel free to put that in the chat. And then when we get to the end, I will stop the recording and you can ask whatever questions you want. And we have Rudy in the house providing his expertise, right? Oh, well, thank you. Well, he's very affectionate tonight. What is going on with you? He's happy it's spring. All right, so let's dive in. This is my annual oily crystal aligning with spring energies because every spring is different and this spring is really, really different. So there is my disclaimer, and I am going to hop in. So for those, and I think everybody who's watching this knows me, but I kind of do a lot of things, don't you think? Lawyer, healer, very interesting stuff. So anyway, as I go through and I am shredding decades and decades worth of tax documents, I'm having a replay of my legal career and my early healing business, which I'm actually going to talk about when I get to the energies. So anyway, I do a lot of different things and I love to share everything that I learn. So if you did not know, I now have the second edition of not only the oily crystal, but the oily pet. I have the second edition. I have not even advertised the second edition of the oily pet, and there were some pretty big upgrades to it. So if you don't have it, if you want to get it, 10% coupon, just use coupon code seasonal. All right. And since we're talking oily crystal, did y'all know that my friend Rebecca at Silver Orange Boutique has put this oily crystal set on sale? It's $59 for the whole thing. It's like half off. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I have been ordering ridiculous amounts because I don't know if she's going to keep these or not, but she's basically just calling it a closeout sale. So she's the only company that I trust to do this. So I don't think she's completely getting rid of crystals and roller bottles. I think she's just getting rid of the big kit, and then you can buy them individually after that. So if you want these, $59, this is a really good deal. So I just wanted to share that. And okay, we are going to dive in. So today is what, March 21st? March 21st. So we technically had the spring equinox, March 19th, 2024 at 11:06 p.m. Eastern. So yesterday, March 20th, was our full day, first full day in the new spring energies. And, you know, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we celebrate the spring equinox. In the Southern Hemisphere, they are celebrating the fall equinox because we are a planet of balance. And so we are now embracing the light coming back. So we have more sun coming back. And so we are moving out of darkness. We are moving out of the reflective, quiet, intuitive energy of nature. You know, and coming out of winter, winter with the darkness and the quiet, it's where we're not supposed to busy ourselves. We're not supposed to be so busy that we can't rejuvenate. But it's also a time where we can face our inner self, our fears. We can look at our dreams. Our productivity should lower. We should get ideas. And, the slowness can cause us to question our life purpose and our meaning in this life. And as the sun now increases, it's helping us to release what we're ready to release. Bad habits, bad mindset, negative mindset. And it's also an opportunity to really engage in what I call creative blossoming. Let our creative juices flow and be more imaginative and more productive and just shine, because spring is all about the light. So, spring is all about new beginnings. It's about renewal of nature. And this is when the fire of the sun returns to the fertility of the earth to create. It's doing the same thing in us. It's rejuvenating our inner fire. Like, we all have a little pilot light in us. And in winter, it's still on, but it's small. It's small. And then in spring, it starts to fire up. So, this is the time to really fire up your inner pilot light and fire up your dreams. So it's the time for seed planting your dreams, your intentions, your goals, and nurture them until they bloom in the summer. And what you plant in the spring comes from the quality of the time that you spent in winter. So if you were too busy, you may not have a lot of good ideas because they just literally couldn't come to you. If you engaged in numbing activities, that's a trend that's happening right now, where people are just mindlessly binge watching television and scrolling on social media. You can't get the quiet to get the ideas to know how to proceed. So winter preps you for the whole year. And so when you get those great ideas in winter, you then can plant the seeds, nurture them over the summer, harvest them in the fall. So in addition to all of that, spring is a great time to declutter, spring cleaning, but it's also decluttering the energy in your home, which is why my office basically looked like a crime scene. I was shredding. I shredded tax records from 1983. I got all the way through 2014, and now I'm into the hard part, 2015 and beyond. My individual tax year folders are about 6 inches thick. That's a lot to shred. Basically looks like a crime scene. It looks like I'm doing a criminal cover up here, shredding documents. So I've been laughing my head off the whole time doing that. But that is the energy of spring. Lighten your load, because every physical thing that you have in your home has an energy to it. And the more you have, the heavier the energy is. In spring, it's time to lighten the load. It's time to lighten the load. Go, you can take a drawer at a time, a closet at a time, a room at a time. And if there's something that you literally haven't looked at or used in, I say 3 years, most people say 6 months, but give yourself 3 years. If you haven't looked at it or touched it or used it in 3 years, somebody else will. Donate it. Donate it, because somebody else could really benefit from it, and it's going to lighten your load. But it's also a time to start decluttering your beliefs and clean out the cobwebs. It's a great time for personal development. So the spring equinox is also known as the astrological new year, because we flipped over to the zodiac sign Aries, and Aries is the first zodiac in the system. So this is a really good time to start energizing your goals for the year, because it's the new year. And it's a time that you can really kick the goals off. So on January 1st, you can start thinking of your goals and, planning and figuring out, okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z And so in the winter, you sit with it and it's like, okay, how am I going to do that? And you wait for the ideas. In spring, you do it. So this is when you take your goals and you put pedal to the metal and you put your feet on the ground and you get moving. So it's an energy of action. So when I talk a little later on about creating your oily crystal spring blend, write out your reflections for the year. I talk about this in my visioning for 2024 class. If you haven't gone through it, or maybe you haven't, you need to go back and revisit it. You need to figure out from last year what worked, what didn't work, what needs to be let go, and what am I ready to grow? You can't grow or add anything to your life without getting rid of something. You can't. So if you haven't taken that class, or if you took it, I would invite you to go back to the Visioning for 2024 event and go back and revisit your goals, because it'll really help you. All right, but now I want to touch on this. And for those of you who are in my Sacred Shift group, just brace yourself for our April meetup. It's going to be like a bomb of information that I drop. So I'm just going to give you a little preview of it. So like I said, 2 days ago, we had the spring equinox. We went into the season of Aries. And the spring equinox is a purging energy, which is why all of a sudden I'm going through tax records that go back to 1983. Okay, I've literally had 40 years to do that. This is a major purging energy, major. I mean, you may be purging physical items, you may be purging emotions, purging mindset, purging bad habits. It's all about massive changes. Big, bold changes, not only individually, but for the collective in our society. So pay attention to things that are happening. It's an energy of motivation. Like I said, it's new beginnings. It's the energy of light. It's rebirthing. It's renewal of nature. And so, yeah, it's a great energy kicking off spring. And this spring equinox is not like past spring equinoxes. It's got a whole lot more fiery energy behind it, as you will see. So, what's today? Is today the 22nd? No, today's the 21st. So tomorrow, Mars goes into Pisces. Okay, why is this a big deal? So I like just kind of looking in general, what is Pisces all about? Pisces is watery energy, intuitive energy. All right. Mars is about passion. It's also about war and anger. So kind of gives you an idea of what this is about. Skeletons are going to get revealed. It's going to be really difficult for people who already struggle with mental health issues. So, if you know of somebody who struggles with mental health issues, they do not need to know about any of this stuff. Just check in on them, make sure that they're okay, because Mars is a very fiery passion, but kind of an angry energy. And you stick it with watery Pisces, and basically you got anger and a bunch of tears. So, Pisces is very emotional, and Mars just basically wants to go to war. So we go into that tomorrow. Yay. Yay for us. And then on March 25th, just in a couple of days, we're going to have our first lunar eclipse, and eclipses come in pairs. Okay. So we are entering a very intense eclipse season. So this full moon lunar eclipse is in Libra. Libra, if anybody's a Libra, is very airy. Air is very, flows, blows with the wind, but it's diplomatic. All right. So when you have an eclipse is a very strong energy. So basically, diplomacy is going to be thrown out the window. There's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that happens. But it's a deep cleansing energy. It's like kind of like what I'm doing right now in my office, where you know the end goal is going to be great, but while you're in it, it's a hot mess. That's our full moon lunar eclipse. It's got a very deep cleansing energy to it. It's got a shake up energy to it. People who are very ego based are going to get shook. They're going to get shook with this. Unexpected endings, but unexpected new beginnings, because whenever there is an ending, there must be a beginning. Okay, so I don't want anybody to catastrophize, oh my gosh, the world is ending. No, one chapter is going to close, but then you go to the next chapter. That's how energy works. It's an energy of re-examining relationships. It's major changes. It's unexpected outcomes, but it's a lot of restlessness, and some people are going to get paranoid. So my best advice is to, stay off social media, or you can look, but don't say anything. Just don't say anything. And you're going to feel like you are shedding the old you along with everybody else. And so old insecurities may bubble up. Great. When they bubble up, let them go. Don't stuff them back down, because something big is getting ready to blossom. There's an independence energy to this full moon lunar eclipse. So yeah, it's going to be a hot mess, but realize the end result is great. Now, eclipse energies last for 6 months. Okay, so just know this. If you know this and things just kind of look like a crap show, it's like, it's the lunar eclipse. It's okay. You'll be okay. You're fine. You have tools to work with. And then it matches up with a total solar eclipse. So everybody and their brother has been talking about this. It goes from like Texas, and it sweeps through the Midwest, and it goes through like Toledo and Cleveland. So the last time we had a really big total solar eclipse was June of 2017. I distinctly remember it. I know exactly what I was doing. And that energy has stayed with us a long time. This one is going to stay with us a long time. So Aries is a fiery energy. So we're in Aries season. And now we're going to have this total solar eclipse, new moon, in Aries, which is a fiery energy. So when we have a total solar eclipse, the sky darkens, but when the light starts to return, we get clarity, like massive clarity. And because the eclipse is going right over the United States, guess who's getting the brunt of it? So people in Australia are still going to get solar eclipse energy, but not like we're going to get it. And we're going to get it in a big way. But it's clarity, and that's good. That's good, right? We want clarity. We don't want to be stuck in the dark. So, but it may shake some people, okay? So, Aries is a very fearless energy. Kind of like rip the Band-Aid off and just suck it up and get over it. And that's kind of what this total solar eclipse is going to be. There's going to be clarity. Things are going to get exposed, and basically suck it up and get over it. Okay? You may change your mind about things that you once supported or believed in. You may say, you know what? My ego's having a hard time changing my mind, but you're going to change your mind about things. This is a powerful energy. Now, we are going to start feeling it at the lunar eclipse on March 25th, because the solar and the lunar eclipse work together. So what this solar eclipse is highlighting is what you were going through in October, so that you can have closure. I can tell you right now, this is going to be very hard on me, because that's when my dad got sick. and got his diagnosis, and then he was dead in 11 weeks. So, but the closure is probably going to be the grief healing. But I could be a hot mess in the meantime. So think of what was going on for you last October, because that is getting highlighted. That's going to come back so that you can release it, you can heal it, and you can get closure on it. So solar eclipses have a big vision for us, and that's why we get clarity. And this solar eclipse is happening right next to, there's a planet. Some people don't think it's a planet. It's like a dwarf planet, but it's called Chiron, which is the wounded healer. And they're going to be right next to each other. So it's going to highlight the wisdom you have gained from hardship. So you're going to get some clarity on that. And this energy is really going to bubble up. And as human beings, we get to pick the path. Do we want to keep fighting each other and wounding each other, or do we want to lay down our arms? And by arms, it could be the verbal weapons that we use against each other, because we're going to go down a path. We get to decide. We get to decide. So be very clear in your intentions. Take action on what you're called to do. Okay, so when you get an idea, don't just sit back and second guess like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, I don't have the money to do that. These energies will push you hard. Push you hard. Okay. So we have not been in retrograde season for 2 months. April 1st, we go back in. So we go back in with Mercury retrograde in Aries. And remember, Aries, fiery energy. So all of the Mercury retrogrades, we have 3 of them this year, are all in fire signs. So it's a very different retrograde season than past years. Last year was all earth signs, which is very grounded, you know, kind of very solid, salt of the earth kind of energy. This time, fire energy, very impulsive, high energy. So, you know, Mercury is all about communication and technology. So that's where mishaps can happen. So just flow with it. Don't get frustrated with it. Aries is going to really test your patience. You know, think before you speak and realize that you may think you're saying one thing, but it is coming across a total opposite way. So especially communicating by text or message or email, you better be pretty dang clear of the emotion behind what you say. So if you're saying something and it's meant to be lighthearted, you better be putting a bajillion lighthearted emojis on it. Be really cautious. Double check everything, you know, cross your T's, dot your I's, you know, because Aries likes to move forward and it's being thwarted by retrograde energy. So pack your patience, and things are going to change very fast in this energy. So be cautious about overreacting and overdoing. Just pack your patience. Pack your patience. So, oh, and it's through April 25th, not the 15th. Sorry, that's a typo. April 1st through April 25th. And then May 2nd to September 1st, Pluto goes retrograde. And Pluto goes retrograde for about 6 months every year. You know, Aquarius, if you're an Aquarius, you know, it's a very airy, light, but progressive energy, very forward thinking, you know, very like not weighed down by heavy energy. That's Aquarius. But Pluto is very deep and very mysterious. It's the energy of death and rebirth, which is transformation. It's all about profound change and power struggles. I can see right now with the Aquarius, the progressive energy, that there's going to be a locking of the horns of artificial intelligence and technology. That's going to happen during Pluto retrograde. It's going to be interesting. But it can really bubble up some extreme behaviors and bubble up things that have been hidden and now they're brought to the surface. So, but this Pluto retrograde, what I like about it is it has an energy of community and gathering people from the past that you haven't been communing with. And it kind of has an energy of yearning for the good old days, but we can't go back to the past. But it's taking the good parts of the good old days and bringing them into the present, which is why I think there's going to be a clash of artificial intelligence during this time. So now, on a side note, what's different about this spring that really I have not picked up in any other spring energies, if your spring, like when you look at what your next 90 days look like, if it looks the same or very similar to last spring, you're stuck in old energies and you will very likely remain stuck. So I know you all have heard me talking endlessly how the earth is evolving. Human beings are evolving. You look at the human being 20,000 years ago, doesn't look like you and me. Okay, we're always evolving. And the earth is always evolving. All the energies are always expanding, always growing. That's what energy is. Energy expands and grows. And if you're not expanding and growing, then you're slowing down. And if you're slowing down, you're dying. So what's different about this year is if it is the same as last year, you're stuck. And all I can say is do everything possible. You don't have to flip your life upside down, but even one thing needs to completely change 180 degrees. Maybe it's what you eat. Maybe it's starting an exercise routine. Maybe it's really diving into mindset on why you have dreams and goals, but you don't do anything toward them. Maybe it's you have this great idea, but you've never done anything with it. It's that sort of stuff. Something needs to be different. And I'm really, really serious about this. Really serious. So if you keep a journal or a calendar, like I keep calendars, oh my gosh, calendars back to like 1980, oh my gosh, that have all since been recycled. But I can look back and see exactly what I did. And what is interesting, where I had my aha moment yesterday, what I'm doing this spring doesn't look anything like what I did last spring. It's almost 100% different. It's almost 100% different. And then I was talking with one of my coaches and she said, oh yeah, it has to be different. If it's not different, you're stuck. And if you're stuck in the old energy and you're not going to be able to get out. And what it feels like when you're stuck in old energy, when everything else is elevating and evolving and growing, you just get angrier and more frustrated and more stuck, and you spiral more. And once the mental and the emotional is happening, where you're frustrated and you're stuck, then the physical gets hit. And then you end up having a physical problem. So that's why I'm saying this very bluntly. Something needs to change. Hopefully you have a good idea what it is from the winter energies, from that quiet. Because we all know what needs to change. Change is good. Change is good. People who say change is scary are the people that are stuck. And then they wonder why they feel like crap all the time. Okay? So just please, I hope you can hear that for what it is and start taking the steps. It's not about sitting at home with the vision board and your oils and your crystals and affirmations and praying for things to change. No, you got to get outside, open the door, get your boots on the ground and start taking action, like physical action. Sign up for the class, launch that business, write that book, call that friend, join that community group, change your job, move locations, end a relationship, change what you eat. Whatever it is that you know you have to do it. All these energies are there to support you. Look, it's fiery energy. It's a lot of fiery energy. It's got a little bit of Pisces watery energy in there, but it's fire. Got a lot of fire happening right now to basically light a fire under our behinds. So I cannot emphasize this enough. It's huge. All right, that was a bonus. That was bonus information. There you go. All right, let's get into blending oils and crystals. So I think all of you absolutely know how to blend oils and crystals. You know that everything is made of energy. Everything, including the earth and the crystals that she produces, including the earth and all the botanicals that grow on her that create the essential oils. So just a reminder, when we're blending, the crystal must be Mohs hardness 6 or higher and not toxic. So go back to your, basic crystal healing training, or find a really good crystal book. My favorite is the Encyclopedia of Crystals by Judy Hall. It gives you the Mohs hardness and it gives you the periodic table of toxic crystals. And then you just got to figure out what they mean. But that's the rule for blending. Now, I'm also going to give you some what I call pairings, where you're going to use an essential oil and a crystal. They're separate, but yet you use them together at the same time. They're just not blended. You're pairing them together. And then it doesn't matter what the Mohs hardness or the toxicity is. All right. Okay, let's get into spring crystals. Let's start with carnelian. So carnelian is energizing. It's all about courage and passion and motivation for success. Success in life, success with your goals, success in business, success with whatever you want to do. It's activating life force energy. It has an energy of adventure and curiosity and love of life. It's protective. It's creative. It has a vitality to it, has motivation to it. It lifts your emotions. It's going to release stress that block creativity and growth. Because what did I just say? If you're not growing and expanding, you're going to get stuck in the old energies. And trust me, you do not want to get stuck there. There is a large portion of society that is so firmly hunkered down in old energies. We're just going to have to leave them behind. They're just so hunkered down in it. Carnelian is a great crystal for courage and really getting into growth, motivation, energy. Phenomenal crystal. And it's safe to blend with your essential oils. Citrine, your happy crystal. It is the crystal of sun energy. Because remember, the sun is coming back. We're getting more light. So it's very energizing. It's very empowering. Gives you confidence and strength. It helps you identify the self-destructive, self-sabotaging behavior. Because with changes that must be made for the spring, must, not should, not, oh, if you have time, must be made. This is going to help you identify the self-destructive, self-sabotaging behavior that's going to try to stop you from doing that. It's a great crystal for moving out of scarcity mindset. And it is what I call a foundational crystal for abundance and manifesting. It's not the be all and end all like everybody else talks about. Green aventurine is that crystal, but citrine is the foundation because you can't get into an abundant mindset if you're not empowered and if you don't have courage and confidence. And you can't manifest what you want if you don't have an abundant, progressive, forward-thinking mindset. If you don't have the mindset of course I can do that. Why not? Let's give it a try. What's the worst thing that could happen? Citrine gives you that foundational level of confidence and courage. And then you bolster it with green aventurine. All right, next one, clear quartz. And for me, you know, I always go for the higher vibrational clear quartz, the Himalayans, the Tibetans, the Lemurians. Little harder to find those to put in a roller bottle. But clear quartz just gets energy moving. And when it gets energy moving in the body, the blocks that are standing in your way are going to be released. That's why it's called the master healer. Just kind of does it all. Green aventurine is your spring, new beginning, good luck, prosperity. Let's get those seeds planted because they're going to grow, grow, grow. It is the new abundance energy. It's very positive. It's very creative. It has a very optimistic outlook. Green aventurine is like spring. It is absolute spring energy because spring is when we grow something. So we're going to get those little seeds planted and then we're going to nurture the heck out of them and watch them grow. Green aventurine is your new best friend. And then Herkimer diamond, you know, this will raise your energy out of the slow winter energy. You know, it's all about growth and removing blocks and transformation and prosperity and moving from light to moving out of the darkness into light. I mean, that's Herkimer diamonds. So this is a great one to work with. So I could literally give you hundreds of spring crystals. I kept it to 5 very simple, easy ones to work with. All right. Now we want to pair crystals separately with the oil. So these do not go in a roller bottle. These do not go directly in liquid. You're going to use these separately, like you're going to be diffusing an oil or wearing an oil, and then you're going to be holding this crystal. Okay, see how that works? Do not put these directly in liquid. It is dangerous. All right, spring crystals. I like chrysocolla. It helps you bring into your life what you need to shift and grow. Perfect for this spring. It releases that fixed mindset of, you know, kind of being stuck in the past and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, and I'm totally going to date myself here, but from the 80s, the Dunkin' Donut commercial where the Dunkin' Donut guy is like, time to make the donuts. It does the same thing over and over again. There are people literally in 2024 that are doing the same thing day in, day out, that they've been doing for years and decades. I mean, even if they're running a business, they are still running their business on the energy of something that maybe worked 5 years ago. Like, for example, Facebook parties. They were awesome 5 years ago. No. Chrysocolla gets you out of that energy so that you stop doing the same thing and then wonder why you're not making any progress. Why is this not working? Why am I stuck? Because you keep doing the same thing. You have to innovate. You can't even okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. You can't do what other people are doing. You have to do what's unique to you. That's what's unique about this spring. You can learn from people, but then you need to take it and figure out, how does my unique energy mesh with what I just learned? Because if you're replicating other people, you will get stuck in old energies. Chrysocolla helps with this, to get out of that fixed mindset. Well, this is how we've always done it. Well, yeah. And that's why you are where you are. So it has a transformational watery energy to it. It's a personal power crystal. It's a communicating new beginnings sort of crystal. It's a motivation crystal. Chrysocolla. It's fantastic. Fantastic. The next one is green moss agate. Different than tree agate. Tree agate does not have a spring energy to it. It has more of a summer energy to it. But green moss agate is about fresh starts, new beginnings, fertile thoughts. Your fertile thoughts are going to be different than my fertile thoughts. This is where everybody just really needs to get into their own energy and their own uniqueness. I'm seeing so much copycatting out there. It's like, but it's not going to work for you. It's not. Make it your own. Make things your own. This is a really good crystal. It helps with decision making and transforming thoughts. Labradorite is high vibrational and grounding at the same time. So it's going to get you into higher consciousness and have higher awareness of what needs to change in your life. And really good for intuitive development, because the only way that you will really know what to change is when you intuitively listen. You've got to give yourself white space in your calendar. You've got to give yourself downtime. You got to give yourself quiet time to listen. Labradorite's really good for that. Lay on the couch, put a labradorite on your forehead, and then we'll talk about oils that you can use. Moonstone is a stone of new beginnings for changes, cycles that we go through, and helps with deep emotional releases. So remember I said that the total solar eclipse is kind of butting up against Chiron, the wounded healer. So there's going to be some emotional purging. Moonstone really helps with it. It helps with the purge. And then white aragonite is also known as a stone of new beginnings, and it helps to release the past and doing the same thing over and over and over again. So if you are, like I said, if your spring looks like your spring last year, change needs to happen. If it looks like your spring 5 years ago, oh my word, does it need to change? White aragonite. It's going to amplify the energy to motivate you to change, to give you the discipline to change, to accelerate your growth out of stagnation, and give you the patience to allow it to unfold for you. It's a beautiful crystal. All right, let's get into spring oils. So, all right, let me go through the single oils first. So bergamot helps with the flow of life and the flow of seasons. It helps you to let go of control and to relax and trust. So again, we're coming back to the theme. If you're not growing and evolving, you're stagnant and dying. I mean, I hate to be so blunt, but we're in blunt energies. And I really want you to really get this. Bergamot helps with that. So if you are like, well, I've always done this and it's worked, I can guarantee you it's not going to work this spring. It's just not. It's not going to work in 2024. The energies are completely different. Bergamot helps with that. It helps to let go, to release the fear of the unknown, and just open your heart. Be joyful. It's just a joyful little oil. Geranium. If the winter energies were hard, like if you really did the winter work with all the inner reflection, this helps to basically rejuvenate the heart, soothe it, and say, you know what, high five, you did a good job. Let's get you out of that winter energy, because you can do a lot of shadow work where you're looking at your shadow side, and geranium can pull you out of that because it really opens the heart chakra. And it's a great self-love oil. jasmine is all about euphoria and happiness. And, you know, for those of you watching this who are, you know, in the northern states, you know, like here in Michigan, whenever the sun comes out and it's above 55 degrees, we lose our ever-loving mind. We're out in t-shirts and shorts, and all my southern friends are like, what is wrong with you? Like, we're still wearing sweaters at 75 degrees. And it's like, oh, no, we are losing our mind. It is euphoria. It is euphoria. And that's why jasmine is fantastic on a 25-degree Michigan spring day. That's not okay. Jasmine is helping me have euphoria because it smells like warm weather's coming. That's what it smells like. So it's very rejuvenating. Manuka, that's what I was smelling first thing. This brings not only a glow to your skin, but an inner glow to your soul. We all need to start glowing, okay? There is some crazy stuff happening on this planet. We aren't going there. We're just going to glow and we're going to shine the light, and all the darkness that is out there. The only way to get rid of darkness, turn on the light. This is a light bringing oil. Oh, it just smells so good. I think I want to drink it. I just love it. Stick it in your face cream at night. That's a good way to use it. And then ylang-ylang helps to warm up your emotions. You know, for even if you're in a warm climate, winter has a cold energy to it. It's a hibernating energy. So it helps to warm the emotions, warm the body, warm the energy, and get you out of isolation, gets emotions moving, get your thoughts moving, get your body moving, opens you up to get out there and gather with other people. It's very uplifting and joyful. So perfect for spring. Now for blends, okay, Believe. This is, since we are at the astrological new year, where you're going to reevaluate your goals and start putting action, not just thoughts, but action, like to-do list, breaking your goals down to the tiniest little step so that you know exactly what to do. So you can't say, I want to lose 20 pounds and then sit at home with your crystals and your oils and, you know, clipping your nails and burning them and chanting, you know, to the gods. No, you can't do that. That's not going to work. You need to make a list of, okay, this is what I'm going to do every day. Here's the foods that I'm going to eat. I'm going to walk, pick the number of steps, 10,000 steps. I'm going to start lifting weights. You know, I'm going to eat foods that are real. You know, I'm going to eat foods that are anti-inflammatory. I'm going to up my Ningxia Red. Or you got to make a list. You got to make a list. You can't just say, I'm going to drop 20 pounds. And that's where people fail, because they don't literally make the little bullet points that they can look at every day and go, check, check, I did all of this. And then bada boom, bada bing. So Believe helps you with this. It helps you believe something that maybe you've never achieved before. It helps you get that little checklist going. Because even if you can't see the path, you know that just taking a step is going to get you closer there. If you don't even take a step, you're not going to get there. If you want to drive from where you are to San Diego, you can't just sit in your house looking at MapQuest. You got to actually get in your car, turn the ignition. So get in your car, check. Turn the ignition, check. Back out of your driveway, check. Drive the first 100 miles, check. That's how Believe works. You may think, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Well, just get in your car. Turn the ignition on, back out of your driveway. Drive 100 miles. Stay at a hotel. Have a nice dinner. Have a good sleep. Do it all over again. Okay, that's Believe. It breaks down the roadblocks. It's very empowering. The Bloom blend. Okay, emotionally, this is just going to light you up. I mean, you're just going to bloom. I mean, it's just going to bring a smile to your face. It's very uplifting to your mood. It clears out the negative emotions. I mean, it's hard to have a negative emotion when you're smelling flowers. I mean, it's really impossible. And so that's what this does. Citrus Fresh stimulates your creativity. So remember, we need to expand and grow. And a lot of that has to do with creativity. You got to let yourself be creative and to think. And it's fantastic to energize us coming out of the winter slumber. Endoflex. This is going to ramp up your adrenals, because our adrenals, if we're on the go too much, they actually get exhausted and they shut down. So this is going to really wake up your endocrine system. So this is just a good physical oil to work with. Ignite Your Journey. I think this is by far the #1 spring oil. This will clear out the reasons why you are stuck where you are, and then align you to what you know you need to do. I mean, it just gets you aligned. It fuels your inner fire. Remember I talked about the little inner pilot light that we all have? This takes your little winter pilot light and goes, ignite your journey, ignite your little pilot light. So it reignites your passion and your purpose. You know, if you're coming out of winter like, oh my gosh, like I just don't care about anything, this really works. And when I smell this, I get very quiet and very calm, which sounds opposite to the igniting energy. Oh no. Before you ignite, there's a calm before the storm. This is a powerful oil to work with. The next one is Into the Future, and this moves you toward your vision with excitement and energy. Because if you are not excited about a goal that you have, you're never going to do it. And maybe you shouldn't. You should be excited. You should wake up every day and want to work on it. If you wake up with the thought that you should work on it, then ditch that goal. Ditch it, because it's not right. You got to wake up and want to work on it. Into the Future does that. It helps you look forward to the realization of your goals and your dreams, and it moves you forward. And it's like looking out the front window in your car rather than looking out the little rear view mirror, which is always looking behind you. It doesn't let you look behind, it lets you look forward. So it helps you visualize. So with that little task list for each goal, get in your car, turn the ignition on, back out of the driveway, drive 100 miles, and you're looking through the front window doing that. That's what Into the Future is. And then Magnify Your Purpose just aligns your energy to your life path and purpose, and it brings you the energy of who you want to be in the world rather than what you want to get. We don't need more stuff necessarily. It's who do you want to be? So it shifts you into a different frequency. All right, let me give you some recipes. Here are roller bottle recipes. So, and don't worry about writing this down. Don't worry about screenshotting. You're going to get the recording. Okay. Put your pencils down. Don't screenshot it. Okay. Just look at it. You're going to get the recording. You're going to get it tonight. So, putting bloom with carnelian is going to bloom you where you are. You need creative juices flowing. Put peppermint and tangerine with green aventurine and carnelian. Holy moly. Brace yourself. You need an energy reboot, Endoflex with carnelian and citrine. You just want to go for it, like pedal to the metal. Put Into the Future with carnelian and clear quartz. The I Can Do It blend is Believe with citrine and clear quartz. If you really want to be purpose-driven in what you do, rather than being about getting stuff, like you really want to have a purpose, Magnify Your Purpose with Herkimer Diamonds. And then the new one that I just created is what I just call Total Eclipse. Ignite your journey with green aventurine and clear quartz. Because total eclipse energy will shake up your world and realign you to what is right for you. You may be a hot mess in the process, but once you're realigned, you're going to look back and say, wow, that was worth it. That was worth it. All right, now let's talk about pairings where you're going to use the oils and the crystals separately, but at the same time. So accelerate your energy. You're going to put geranium in the diffuser or topically apply it, smell it, and hold white aragonite. Now, with all of these, when you are creating the roller bottles and using them, or when you're holding a crystal while smelling an essential oil, I always recommend using affirmations. You got to come up with the affirmation based on what you're dealing with. So hold your white aragonite with your geranium oil. For fertile thoughts, if you feel like, wow, I do not have a creative bone in my body, like I literally don't know what I can change from last spring. Yeah, jasmine and ylang-ylang together with green moss agate is going to be a good combination. If you are a control management specialist, where it's like, but I've been doing the same thing for the last 5 or 50 years, and I really don't want to let it go, you're stuck in old energy. You need to go with the flow. Bergamot with chrysocolla or moonstone or all three. If you want to get that inner glow going, manuka with moonstone. And then to reignite your energy, citrus fresh with labradorite. Love all of these. I love all of these so much. All right, so what's coming up? So I got a lot of local stuff coming up. I haven't been doing as much online. So if you're a local, I've got things coming up. Just put 2 classes on the schedule today. April 25th and May 2nd are new classes. I'm teaching them out at Sacred Oasis Massage with Stacy, who is in my oil team. If you know of anybody who hasn't taken basic crystal healing, I'm going to do 2 half days online in June. I'm going to do a bonus class. I normally don't teach basic that time of year, but I felt called to do it. So I'm just going to do basic. Otherwise, crystal season does not come back until the fall. I'm literally just finishing it up right now. And then Oily Crystal Summer Energies will be June 20th. All right. And then for anybody who has not taken the Oily Crystal Master Class, there's a coupon code there at the bottom because you're going to get more of these descriptions. I personally think one of the best features of the Oily Crystal Master Class is the workbook that has the crystal and the oil descriptions in the back. I think that's one of the best things that I provided in this. So coupon code 10 off for 10% off. If you've been looking at the Sacred Shift, this is the stuff we talk about. I know quite a few of you here are in the Sacred Shift. And all I can say is buckle up. In April, we're diving deeper into a lot of the stuff that I just talked about today. People ask me all the time, when are the energies going to let up? They're not. They're not. The earth is evolving. We're riding her roller coaster. It's up to you what you want the ride to be. That's what we talk about in the Sacred Shift. It's up to you. You can decide whatever you want. There are tools and techniques that can help you. And when you really understand what's happening, you're not going to freak out like everybody else. So, coupon code 10 off for 10% off. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. So for those who are watching the recording, thanks for joining in.